Hello and welcome to today's reading of the book, The Dichotic Dilemma, The Fabric of Life, a book which I wrote to discuss my view of life and my thoughts and opinions. It is a book that charts my journey through life and ultimately expounds on this idea of the dichotic dilemma, which I then found as a discovery in the process of writing the book. So I will read on from the last excerpt in the last episode, the last poem, which was about love. And then as the way the book is structured, over time, when I was in my younger days, I wrote quite a lot of what you can call poems or expressive writings, which were varied in many ways. And I then decided to sit down and analyze my own thoughts. And that process of writing the poem or the thought expression and then analyzing it became the books. So the book discusses life in general from my perspective, and I think it offers some interesting insights and at the very least just a heartfelt conversation about the human condition. So continuing on from the last episode, love is a very complex emotion, and human emotions are a complex phenomenon. When I wrote this, which is the last poem, I was young and still learning about love. Oftentimes, love is depicted as something where everything is perfect. And in many ways, in my youth, that could have been my view of it when innocence was untainted. However, in an imperfect world, a world where there are positive and negative aspects to existence, creating our perceived ideas of perfection is difficult, if not impossible. Some have tried. An easily transferable example is Hitler and the Nazis for the love of their land and people. This is where love becomes indeed a complex subject. It poses great social dilemmas and contradictions, as the notion of it is attempted to be expressed by humanity in a volatile world full of disparities and disparate peoples. On that basis, an analysis of what love is reveals that it is an extreme feeling, the antithesis of hate in its purest terms. Yet out of love and for love, hurt and hate for others can occur. The manifestation of the dichotic dilemma. As expressed before, a phenomenon that transcends all aspects of human existence and existence universally. Everything can have either a positive or negative effect, depending on how it is expressed and managed. Hence, love equally so. As mentioned before, it is an extreme feeling. So in essence, it is a phenomenon to an extreme, meaning it can produce extreme results. That is why we can die for love, and equally so, kill for love. On that basis, as the poem purports, true love is its expression, but I'd argue its positive expression to all. For example, what becomes of people who love their country, so much and do not want foreigners in it. Therein lies the effect of the dichotic dilemma as it pervades and manifests itself in the sphere of human social existence. Look deep enough, then you realize that the so-called love for their country is based on survival. Hence, by virtue of our existence and differences, the dichotic dilemma, the survival instinct, and our higher functioning minds, these variables pit us against each other to war and hate at times, all in the name of love. My purpose is to try and express these ideas to highlight a possible perspective behind why we act the way we do. That is why at the beginning of the book, I denounced the concept of good and evil because it is shallow. The reason being, based on the example of nationalists not wanting foreigners in their country, a so-called foreigner needing access to that country and not being allowed could deem those people bad or evil. Yet those nationalists love their daughters and sons and live normal lives, but are just protecting what is theirs for the sake of their survival and that of their children. Hence, instead of good and evil, a better position is to argue in terms of perspective and perception. No human being is born evil, so to speak. To see a newly born infant is to observe what humanity truly is in its basic state. It writhes and wriggles and looks and only looks for the tit to breastfeed. It is a primal observation that sheds light to the origins of our nature when we are older. No one can say that baby is evil, yet they grow into from one spectrum rapists and murderers, and to the other spectrum altruistic philanthropists, and many other things in between. No one can say they are wholly good or wholly bad all their life, yet some indeed do exist on one side of the spectrum more than not in terms of their consequence to others. So how can we define good and evil? It is said that the scientists who designed the nuclear bomb and saw its results, many of them so shocked at what they had done, decided to turn to biology to pour their efforts into something to help mankind. Can we say they were evil? Or were they products of a human existential perspective which shaped their behavior according to their attributes and designed a weapon of death looking after the needs of their survival, who in the process unleashed to tremendous disaster the power of the dichotic dilemma when forces are pushed to extremes. Their survival against the survival of others. Both sides in this battle would have argued their position as the good ones. Life's dilemmas are plenty and go beyond the shallow perceptions of good and evil, because those alienate a disparate but singular human race by creating the most extreme state of them and us. We say we are civilized, and the four being on this planet. Surely we can express that claim to better consequence than we do. Or are we just designed to be the way we are and incapable of anything else and bound to repeat history? Indeed, the Dichotic Dilemma. So that concludes today's reading of the book, The Dichotic Dilemma. Have a good day.